Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, today we're going to be reviewing the two big games which took place over the weekend. Chelsea running away 3-1 winners over Bournemouth. And of course, that big one on Sunday, Arsenal getting the better of Newcastle. Now, joining me to review these two matches, we have returning to the podcast, Carey.
Yes, viewers and subscribers, we're back again. Just here, always excited to be on the platform.
Yes, indeed. And we also have Leon.
Similar to Carey, it's a pleasure to be here, viewers and subscribers.
Yes, gents, let's keep the ball rolling. Let's jump straight into it. Bournemouth versus Chelsea. We see Chelsea running away 3-1 winners, and by doing so, pretty much putting end to any talk of relegation. Kerry, talk to us about that result. How did you see that one?
Yeah, man. Well, in our other forum there on WhatsApp, when I saw the starting 11, I said it that this is possibly Frank's best 11. But at that point in time, I said I would have probably started Felix over Gallagher. But Gallagher started and paid dividends. So credit to Frank Lampard. I think he finally found his best 11. So let's see how it goes forward. They got a necessary 3 point. I think they have somewhat regained some. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but they get somewhat. I know it must be a confidence booster.
It's a good result, call a spade a spade. It's a positive result. It's a 3 points in the bag. It's just a good result. They got the 3 points, they scored 3 goals, and for the most part, Bournemouth was in the game. It was those two late goals, one from that set play there that was kicked in by the defender, body shield, and then later on in the 80 plus minutes, I believe Felix came on as a sub and made it 3-1, pretty much putting that game to bed. So it's a step in the right direction for Chelsea. As you say, Lampard, questionable team selection in certain areas. We are hearing talks of Felix not doing much defensive work off the ball. So it seems a case of trying to get that balance right. And in this game in particular, he got the balance right and he got the result. But I'll bring you in at this point, Leon. How did you see this one? Chelsea, 3-1.
Yeah, crucial point for Chelsea there. I think they're finally past the 40 point mark. I think that's a sign of staying up in previous campaigns. Once you reach the 40 points, teams would normally not fear the relegation anymore.
Right,
So
that's like the benchmark.
So it's a good look for Chelsea. And as I said, it's lovely to see Badiashile coming back in because I thought he was the best defender from January, barring Thiago. And he magically disappeared from the starting lineup. So it's lovely.
Yes, you make a very interesting point there. I was also shocked when I saw Under Potter, while he was playing well in the league, he was suddenly dropped from the squad. No explanation, no injuries. And I thought, just like you, that he was one of the better defenders. It was more like Silva, Body Shield, and another defender to make that back three. But since he has come back, I mean, Chelsea have looked a better unit defensively. They still have a solid defensive record. In fact, I believe they've conceded less goals than even Arsenal at this point in the campaign. So defensively, they're not that weak. Where their weakness have always been is in the attacking third, where failure to score goals seem to be the big hurdle they're unable to get over, But in terms of tactics, Leon, how did you see both teams lining up tactically? Were there any surprises?
Not really. I thought Chelsea needing to get a point. I always thought Chelsea will play more on the ball. Bournemouth looking to counter. I think Bournemouth was 4 from the last 5 in victory, so they showed up very confident. I think a key tactical aspect of this match was on the Chelsea left-hand side, where you had Kante and Madueke and overloading that side of Bournemouth pitch, and you can see that's where the first goal come from. And And I think Conte was playing like a more familiar role this week. Now, for the past weeks, I'm seeing him like popping up in number 10 positions, and we know that ability is carrying the ball and defending. So it was a good run out for Chelsea. I've been seeing improvements, even though it's minimal from the past weeks, and I think this result must is a booster for them.
Yes, you could definitely see that it was a booster just based on this, the type of celebration that took place after the goals were scored, It was almost like a relief for the team to
And
get
I
a
think
win.
it's surprising that they're scoring goals because they're normally scoring one goal for the month, so 3 goals in one match. I would be cheering too if I was a Chelsea fan.
We move, But that Bournemouth goal, Kerry, it was a sublime build-up and finish, To me, that was like the goal of the game. How did you see the game from a Bournemouth perspective? Disappointed at the loss?
Definitely disappointed. Because I think they still, even though they lost 3-1, I know there's a part of Bournemouth that believe that they should have won that game or at least steal a point because like Chelsea really ran them over. It was that Chelsea took the chances on the day.
Mm.
Solan pointing, he made a few runs here and there trying to get behind Silva, but no, he didn't look what he looked in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And also he was a bit disappointed himself. I know Smith, I think in one of his post interviews said that it wasn't his best games. He felt something. I don't know if it's a little knock or what it was, but he felt something. So he had a poor game as well. But I'm disappointed, however, they're not they didn't seem really phased by it because as we discussed that right now I think Bournemouth is just at the phase where they're seeing out the campaign. So they're just really building, getting some minutes in and looking forward to next season.
Yes, they're pretty much in that comfort zone, where they can't be relegated, neither can they make it into Europe. So they're in that comfort zone where, as you say, it's just a case of being professional, seeing out the fixtures, and making sure you continue that culture of winning and not necessarily develop bad habits towards the latter end of the season. So a good win for Chelsea, a disappointing loss for Bournemouth. But we move. And we move to the big one. Newcastle versus Arsenal. That one took place on Sunday. And as per usual, it was a massive game, a raucous atmosphere. Arsenal running away 2-0 winners. Kerry, talk to us about that one. What's your overview on the game and the result?
To say Arsenal running away seems a bit of a stretch. Arsenal walked out with the 3 points because Newcastle really had Arsenal under massive pressure from the first Newcastle basically had they they were on the necks of Arsenal, we could say, for majority of the match. They were unfortunate more than one occasions because I think they hit the woodwork 3 times, if I'm correct.
Yes,
And
I recall one from Isaac. I think Murphy might have hit the
Murphy,
word work as
right,
well.
and Murphy hit one again, and there was another one. So the 2-0 margin, I would say it does not show a true reflection of the game because Newcastle really brought their game to Arsenal. It's just that they were unfortunate at the day, didn't the ball didn't hit the back of the net. Credit to Ramsdale as well. He pulled off a few saves. I think Odegaard has really shown why he is the captain of the club. In these situations where Arsenal is somewhat being run over, take those shots. He will grab the game by the scruff and have a go at it. And I think he's the third highest goals from home right now. And that shows a lot because he's not even a striker. So, it was positive. I think Arsenal celebrated because they were longing for a win against a very competitive team. So I know it kind of bringing back some form of confidence to the team, even though the first place may have slipped away at this point. But it's good to get that confidence in the locker room up going into next season. Playing, you have the Champions League, you have the EPL, you have the EFL Cup, you have the FA Cup. So it's good to get the confidence and try to let it spill over into next season.
Yes, quite a mouthful there, Kerry. You have touched on a few key pointers, but you, you seem to have given up on the title race when mathematically,
Still possible.
isn't it still possible? From a mathematical
Mathematically,
point of view? I
it
mean,
is possible mathematically. It's Man City. Let's just be honest. It's Man City, and
stranger things have happened. We've seen slips in the past. I mean,
as a Liverpool fan, we know we are still slips.
right. So, I mean, you can't, I mean, don't give up, I mean, this was a massive test for Arsenal. This was really a test of the mentality and to see if their hearts and their minds were still up for the fight. And to their credit, they came away with the victory. They stood up against the Newcastle pressure, especially early on in the game. I would say the first 15 minutes, yeah, tremendous pressure, and Newcastle had a few openings there, which they could have definitely taken the ascendancy. But Arsenal hung in there, got the lead, and pretty much didn't look back, even with as I said, all the Newcastle pressure. As you said, Ramsey came to the fore. I believe he made some crucial saves. I recall one from Shar, the Newcastle defender, where, from a header, point blank, he pulled off a magnificent save. So they stood up, and I think based on the run of the game, I think it's a deserved victory. It's really a benchmark to take forward into the remaining fixtures. But I'll bring you in at this point, Leon. How did you see the game?
I think it's just when two big teams are in form, it always comes down to who take their chances. And even though Newcastle had chances, Arsenal put theirs away. So it's credit to Arsenal, they deserve it. I would say this performance came a little bit too late, but we'll never know until the season finishes. So
Mm.
yeah, but I think it went as we expected. I think we're at Newcastle home. Newcastle was always going to come out and play. I think even Eddie Howe was crying in their post match about Arsenal time wasting.
Oh,
And
yes.
Newcastle of all person who has the most time wasting for the season. But it's as the it shows that Arsenal had a game plan, and I think they were being overrun in the middle of the park with Willock, Bruno Guimaraes, and Joe Linton. And I think the tactical change that Arteta made was to let Xhaka play a little bit deeper. So you had Xhaka and Jorginho and place Odegaard a little bit further. So when when Newcastle midfield presses there, Arsenal double pivot, you'd see Odegaard with a lot of space behind them, and that's where the first goal comes from. And it's been a a repeating thing with Odegaard with the outside of the boxes finishes, and you could see that first goal was lovely, was a lovely
Yeah,
goal.
it was a clean strike from about 25 yards. I'm surprised Pope didn't get a touch on it. I'm
He
not
saw
sure
it
if it
late.
was coming through some bodies and he saw it late, but yeah, it was a sublime hit from outside the 18 yards there, and that basically put Arsenal 1-0 up. And late on, we saw Martinelli squaring and Newcastle scoring an own goal to make it 2-0. But in between that, both teams had their fair number of chances. I recall Saka getting away one-on-one with the keeper and Pope pulling out a magnificent save as well. So it wasn't as if Arsenal was totally overall. Both teams were throwing punches. And as you say, it's a team which really took their chance which came out the victorious one. But tactically, Kerry, Leon made mention of it that, the double pivot of Arsenal. In the preview, we had speculated that Partey was dropped to the bench. And we
Deservingly.
we saw that playing out again, Jorginho getting the start. What was your take on that, Kerry?
But I mean, the manager, he's the one who's at the training ground. Probably he has his part is really fit, but it might just have been a tactical change. However, my issue with Jorginho is sometimes he's a bit slow on the ball, but at the end we kind of saw some technical ability from him on display. I think Newcastle tried as much as possible to nullify, as Leon was pointing out, that pressing in the midfield. But once again, Arteta kind of showed his class that he's developing. Not saying he's one of the best. Well, he's arguably, but he's showing why he's being touted to be one of the best in the next coming years. It's his excellent in-game management that gets him a lot of credit at times.
Right, or the changes in tactics
And we saw
based on how the game is progressing.
right, and we saw him doing that with the double when he sends Odegaard out, and Xhaka. A lot of persons forget to actually play that number 8 and also the number 6 role. And I think Arteta proved that again on Sunday that listen, Xhaka can be a very versatile player. Since the start of the season, Xhaka has played right wing back. He has played the number 6 role. He has played the number 8 role. He has played the free roam number 10 role as well. So
High,
Arteta just utilizing that versatility.
high praises there for a man which was one start to believe in the club. It's almost like the return of the prodigal son, from almost from the exit door to becoming now a linchpin in the team, the first name on the team sheet, it seems.
I mean,
Right.
I think he was always very crucial to Arsenal. It's just that whether it goes good or bad, it's always Xhaka the problem. So it's going mostly good now, and you're getting to see his better qualities in the team. And I think Arteta said it before the match or after the match that they knew that Newcastle midfield was going to be very physical. So it's either choosing Partey to go against their physicality, are choosing Jorginho with his technicality, and he said that even if they chose Partey, I don't think they could combat Newcastle's physicality. So he chooses Jorginho. So
Technical.
yeah, technical aspect, and it worked
Oh.
wonders for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, definitely. I must say, Bruno Guimaraes in particular was kept a bit quiet in that game as well. And I mean, through him is where Newcastle does most of their damage. He's always recycling the ball and spraying the passes left and right. And to a large extent, his passing could have been better. And Arsenal really put the clamps on him in terms of his influence on the game. And the chance creations were kept at a minimum. But I did like the performance of Willock, the former Arsenal man. I saw him popping up for a few chances, and his running with the ball was definitely one to keep an eye on. But unfortunately, the chances were just not taken. We saw Isak hitting the bar as well, coming close, but still not breaching the Arsenal rear guard. So credit must be given to the Arsenal defense. The new centre back there, Courier, he gave quite a commendable performance, I must say. And maybe to many, Saliba seemed not to be missed anymore. So I don't know if Saliba coming back, if he'll have a challenge on his hand to regain or retain his starting partnership there with Gabriel. That should be an interesting one to watch going forward or into next season. But Arsenal is still in it, Kiri. I am quite surprised the Arsenal fans have given up all hope, it seems. Mathematically, the title race is still on.
I agree. I agree. However, I are seeing what Man City is, so it's not really saying Arsenal won't go ahead and win the remainder of matches because Arsenal has shown that they have the ability to do that. It's just that right now Man City is playing on such a, even if it's 1 point, it seems impossible to catch up with them. So it's not that
Ah.
Arsenal won't be able to win the rest of the matches. It's just that Man City is playing absolutely perfect football at the moment.
Well, you can never tell, We saw what Brighton upsetting Man U on the weekend. I mean, the games still have to be played, and we all know football is not played on the field, you know. But overall, though, Leon, how did you see this weekend of matches? Did any of the result in particular grab your attention?
I mean, it all with my team, my loss is always gonna get my attention. But at this point, we're just stumbling over the line. For the rest of the matches, I think this is a record amount of goals that's scoring from a game week. We see a lot of a 5-4, a 5-3. So it was an exciting game of football overall for the Premier League. But yeah, that's just the Premier League though. That's why it's the most watched in the world. You can't really tell who is going to win. As you said, if you're a betting man, you have to come good for good
Yeah,
with the Premier League.
definitely. I'm telling you, many persons would have lost their money, especially even in that Everton Brighton game, which we saw taking place today, I believe, where Everton fighting for their life in the EPL surprised Brighton with a quite convincing victory over high-flying Brighton, who had previously pipped Manchester United 1-0 in the 98th minute. But Kerry, how do you see this relegation fight? Things seem to be heating up down there in the basement.
Well, credit to Nottingham Forest because let's not forget
Oh,
months. I know they are somewhat out of it. They're not safe, but looking on the way that Leicester is playing and the remainder of the matches, it seems like Leicester is going down. It seems honestly, it seems like the bottom three right now seems like they're the ones going down. We
so
can
that
confirm
would be what? Southampton,
Leicester
Leicester,
Leicester,
and
right, and Leeds.
and
Leeds.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So those are
So
your three
I think those
picks
are
to be relegated then.
definitely at this point and how they're playing. I would go with that three.
So you're thinking the appointment of Sam Allardyce at such a late stage may not have the effect Leeds is hoping for then.
It's as good as Pep and Arteta is.
So you're concurring with that statement, Leon. You think these are the three teams that will get the job?
Definitely, I think Allardyce is an appointment too late. I think if
Mm.
they gave him more matches, but you know how it goes with manager appointment. They have to try to get the team not playing their way right now because it's too late. And I think the teams above Everton, Nottingham Forest, West Ham, they're playing good football, and I think they just don't have enough. I think Leicester, um, very shocking this season. I just don't see where they can get enough points to get out of this. I think Corey's right with those three teams down at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm still watching this one keenly. It's so tightly packed that a one game swing here or there can really transform the picture immediately. So I'm still not sure of the three. Similarly, I'm still not sure of who will finish in the top four. We see Manchester United losing, Liverpool continuing their winning streak, and of course Newcastle also being beaten by Arsenal. So that spot for the top four have gotten a bit more interesting. And of course, Brighton is still there with 2 games in hand. So Brighton is still in with a fight for either the Champions League or one of those European positions. So it's tight at the top. It's also tight at the bottom. But Kerry, what's your final take on this weekend of football?
A lot of goals. I think it was a goal fest weekend. because I think just today alone we had 8 goals and it
Mm.
was just 3 matches. So it was a goal-filled weekend. I think now you can see that teams are really going at it because whenever you see so many goals scoring, it means it's all hands on deck, everything going forward, all out
Results.
attack, just results. Nothing at this point. It is nothing to lose or to gain. So that's where we are now. Crunch time of the season, make or break of the season.
Make or break. Leon, what's your final take on
Just to
this weekend's action?
just to correct Corey there, I think in total it's 21 goals scored today. So as you said, goal fest. I'm sorry I
Right.
missed some of the matches, but as you said about the top four races, I think you can't call it right now. I think Liverpool, we know their history. They can go unbeaten for the rest of the season. Man United stuttering and Newcastle, Brighton all had a hiccup, so it should be a very good competitive fight for the end of the season, I think.
Yes, indeed. And we have some Champions League action coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday as well. We see the semi-finals of the Champions League. Real Madrid, Man City, and we see the two Milan teams going head to head, AC Milan versus Inter Milan. Fascinating stuff, football all around, both in the leagues and also in the Champions League. But Leon, Carey, I'd just like to thank you again for coming on board and sharing with us your thoughts and your perspectives. Viewers and subscribers, again, thanks for tuning in to Beating the Press podcast. Please continue to share so that we can grow the channel. And of course, feel free to comment and also like. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.